Their Excellencies, the Right Honourable Dame Cindy Kero, Governor-General of New Zealand, and Dr. Richard Davis.
Ia tau iho ngā manaakitanga ki runga ki tēnā o tātou i tēnei rana. E hōnore he kororia he maungāro mō ki runga ki te mata o te whenua. E whakaaro pai ki ngā tangata katoa. Aro haina ngā teina me ngā tuakana e noho nei i rungi te whakaaro o tahi pai mai.
Please be seated. E ngā mana, e ngā reo, e ngā iwi o ngā hau e whā, tēnei aku mihi mahana ki o koutou i te ata nei. Nau mai hara mai ki te whare o kāwana, kia ora mai tātou katoa. Distinguished guests, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to Government House this morning for the investiture ceremony. I specifically acknowledge the Honourable Aisha Verrill, Minister of the Crown, Joe Harawira, Government House Kaumātua, and Rānui Ngārimu Kuia. Dr. Davis and I are delighted that we could host you here in person on this very special day for recipients, for your friends and your families. As Governor-General, I have the immense privilege on behalf of Her Majesty the Queen of New Zealand to confer the honours to which you are each entitled. It's a very special thing to bring together such a diverse and extraordinary group of New Zealanders. Some of you have achieved national and international renown, while others are pillars within your communities, dedicating your lives to serving others. What you share is the positive impact that you've had on Aotearoa New Zealand. You've brought pride and a greater sense of well-being to our country, and for those things, I thank you. Today's recipients also share that defining New Zealand quality, the belief that anything is possible. And it's that strength of belief, that drive that brought you here today. Each recipient is honoured. When they are, I invite you all to join with me in thanking and congratulating them for their service to our country. Ms. Catriona McLeod will now summon the recipients and read their citations.
Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a Companion of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Professor Angus McFarlane of Christchurch, for services to education, psychology and Māori. Professor Angus McFarlane has developed bicultural approaches for teachers and psychologists to create safe, inclusive relationships with Māori students and clients, notably the educultural wheel. His theories are also effective for Pacific, disabled and gifted learners. He contributed to projects such as Resource Teachers for Learning and Behaviour and Hui Whakatika, a Māori-developed restorative justice program in schools. His bicultural research model, He Ara Whiria, has been used by Supuru, the Families Commission, MSD, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Defence and the New Zealand Council for Educational Research, and is the basis for research for E Tipu Erea, a Better Start National Science Challenge. Professor McFarlane is Professor of Māori Research and was founding director of Te Rū Rangaho, the Māori Research Laboratory at the University of Canterbury. Professor Angus McFarlane, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mrs. Anne Hawker of Wellington, for services to people with disabilities. Anne Hawker was President of Rehabilitation International, chaired its Social Commission, and played a leading role in its work towards the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. She was President of the Disabled Persons Assembly New Zealand, Treasurer of the New Zealand Rehabilitation Association and the Disability Information Service, New Zealand representative to the International Federation of Multiple Sclerosis Society, and CEO of the Head Injury Society. She's Principal Disability Advisor for MSD, where she single-handedly implemented the LEAD Toolkit, a guide for employing disabled people. She's been instrumental in establishing the We Enable Us network, providing leadership on effective and inclusive employment of disabled people in the public sector. Mrs. Hawker has been a driving force behind the Accessibility Charter. Mrs. Anne Hawker, please come forward. Dr. Linda Robertson of Dunedin for services to occupational therapy and seniors. Dr. Linda Robertson has worked in occupational therapy for 40 years. She published the key text, Clinical Reasoning in Occupational Therapy, controversies in practice, and developed the five-finger framework to transition students from an academic environment to evidence-based practice. She is a life member and regional representative on the Executive Committee of the New Zealand Association of Gerontology. She's a board member of Age Concern Otago. She researched how occupational therapists can facilitate older people to age in their home environment and help develop Abbey Field's unique model of housing in Dunedin. She researched the Steady As You Go community peer-led exercise program for older people. Dr. Robertson worked with a group of Chinese seniors to develop resources to improve their understanding of the New Zealand healthcare system. Dr. Linda Robertson, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Ms. Kendra Cocksedge of Christchurch for services to rugby. Kendra Cocksedge is the second most capped member of the Black Ferns women's rugby team. She's played in more than 50 tests and won 2 Women's Rugby World Cups. She won the Women's Sevens World Series with the Black Fern Sevens. She won back-to-back Farah Palmer Cup titles with Canterbury and was the first player to surpass 1,000 points. She has been World Rugby Women's Player of the Year and New Zealand Rugby Women's Player of the Year, and was the first woman to win the Kelvin R. Tremaine Memorial Player of the Year. Ms. Cocksedge is New Zealand Rugby's Women's Participation Manager for the South Island. Ms. Kendra Cocksedge, please come forward. Marnie Mitchell of Wellington for services to intersex advocacy and education. Marnie Mitchell played a significant role in establishing the Intersex Trust of Aotearoa New Zealand, ITANZ, and is its CEO. Marnie has contributed to initiatives to include intersex conditions into the fields of sexual health medicine and mental health. Marnie represents New Zealand on the Australian National LGBTI Health Alliance. Marnie represented ITANZ at a meeting of New Zealand and Australian intersex organisations in Sydney, where the group published the Darlington Statement, the first comprehensive policy platform for intersex persons in Australasia. Marnie Mitchell is a member of the International Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Trans and Intersex Association, ILGA Governing Council, and has helped organise 2 ILGA World Conferences. Marnie Mitchell, please come forward. Mr. Stephen Phillips of Christchurch for services to seniors and the community. Stephen Phillips is Vice President of Age Concern New Zealand and former Chief Executive of Age Concern Canterbury. He's established, promoted and supported initiatives to improve quality of services to older people. He's contributed to policies to promote inclusive communities and ensured funding for organisations working with seniors. He's an independent trustee of Otatahi Community Housing Trust. He is Deputy Chair of the Canterbury District Health Board Consumer Council and a trustee of Canterbury Healthcare for Elderly Trust. Mr. Phillips is a Justice of the Peace and was President of the Canterbury Justices of the Peace Association. Mr. Stephen Phillips, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the Queen's Service Medal, Mr. Grant Baker of Porirua for services to cricket and the community. Grant Baker has been involved with the Tawa Cricket Club, now North City Cricket Club, since 1981, including time as president. He chaired the Tawa Cricket Board and was a Wellington Cricket Association member. He organised the 6th International Vintage Cricket Tournament. He helped Wellington Cricket set up the vintage grade and helped establish the inaugural over-60s Provincial Championship. He initiated the formation of a Veterans Cricket New Zealand Charitable Trust and is its chair. Mr. Baker has chaired Camp Elsdon Board, Porirua Harbour Catchment and YMCA Greater Wellington, and currently chairs YMCA Central and St. Teresa's Parish. Mr. Grant Baker, please come forward. Mr. Rob Greenfield of Wellington for services to college football. Rob Greenfield has volunteered with the Wellington College Football Club Committee since 2007. He has been a grade convener and has held roles as president, trial convener, and grade selector for junior and youth. He drove the creation of a set of protocols and processes ensuring the fair and orderly running of the club. He oversaw a student coaching scheme and parent mentoring program. He is communications officer and has written a club history. He organised football matches for Wellington College's 150th anniversary. Mr. Greenfield held several roles with Onslow Junior Football Club and is a life member. Mr. Rob Greenfield, please come forward. Your Excellency, the investiture has concluded.
Kia ora mai anō. Our honours system is New Zealand's highest public affirmation of outstanding individual achievement. It reinforces those things that make our society better: service, commitment, manaakitanga, and the pursuit of excellence. Recipients of these honours embody something else quintessential to Aotearoa New Zealand. That is our diversity, our differences in backgrounds, views, and experiences that ultimately bind and strengthen us. To our recipients, it has been a privilege to hear your stories. You have each used your talents and abilities to improve the lives of your fellow New Zealanders. Your actions and the lives you lead reflect the spirit of the words of William Carlos Williams, who said the only way to be truly happy is to make others happy. When you realise that and take advantage of that fact, everything is made perfect. I urge you to wear your insignia with pride at every opportunity, knowing that your contributions are recognised and valued, and that you inspire others by your example. On behalf of the Queen of New Zealand, and indeed all New Zealanders, I congratulate you on your achievements, and I thank you again for your service to our country. Ka huhi mai tātou I tēnei rā. Before we conclude the formal part of today's ceremony, I invite you all to stand with me and join in singing I think the rugby players will have to sing loudest. Stand and join with me in singing the national anthem in te reo and in English. The words are on the back of your programme.